Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What is good, Nomad Pack internet peoples? Well. Have we got a based bit of news that just came forward out of nowhere? Thanks to the based people in the UK that are still left. I feel bad for them, especially friends of mine who are in that crowd that protested against this, how you guys would say knobhead, or I would call a clown merchant, Keir Starmer. You guys, thankfully, it goes to show, maybe with enough protest and talk and political takes online, that he tried to censor among their whole censorship liberal communist BS. You managed to get this guy to step down, and he made a speech on resigning. Let's see what this donut's got to say. Let us see. Oh, and FYI, if you like the content and the reactions, or my whole 2 cents on certain situations, reactions in politics, you already know, Nomad Pack, internet peoples, like and subscribe. Okay, let's see what this guy's got to say.
6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told,
just like your soul,
time and time again, that my party was finished.
That
we
it
were
was
consigned to history. That a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong, because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that wants...
There you go, doing the political lies. Yeah, that's pretty much non-existent. You basically did open borders, unvetted immigration, and lo and behold, the places in the Middle East and of Africa, you let those people in, and they've been wreaking havoc on your streets. And when the people try to defend themselves against it, you want to lock them up so they have to sit there and do nothing. You made the UK worse, and that could have happened to America. But luckily, there was a fair amount of creators in the red pill that kept dumbass Kamala out of office, thankfully for that. And unfortunately, there wasn't enough people there to speak out and actually convince their fellow countrymen to keep you out of office. But now, this could be a good long thing coming, and a beautiful new dawn for the UK if they play their cards right. Here's hoping they do, because you guys are been cooked. But there could be hope yet. You just gotta convince the dum-dums there, especially the stupid liberal white women there, to pull their head out of their ass, stop being guilt-tripped from evil corporations, elites, and all the bullshit that they try to feed and put in your brain and force down your throat. Luckily, the men have been wise and have been countering that, but not to a good enough extent in the UK. I digress. I'll let him finish.
Once again, stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose. Not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better. To build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, wealth and opportunity for all.
Cap.
Not just the privileged few.
The biggest cap on the block is I expected him to say, yeah, there's no national pride with you there. You pretty much stripped it and made your country into more of a hellhole than what it was. Remember, based people and friends of mine who happen to be in the UK, really take this to heart. This is your freaking chance, and this could be your only last chance if you don't wisen up and get everybody to vote for the Reform Party. There's been debates and conversations and whatnot saying voting doesn't matter. Okay, well, let's prove that theory. We proved it here in America when the Democrat Party, you could say what you want, but other people have called it out. It at least raised suspicions for the election before the last one, when Biden got in office. That one was questionable, to say the least. But as Trump said, when everybody voted for him and there was more eyes on this one, too big to rig. Make your votes too big to rig. Let's test that theory if voting doesn't matter. Get everybody you know, all your friends, family, do your best to convince them. Don't jump down their throat, because that's what the Commie-crats do, and they probably get enough of it. Or should I say the Labour Party in the UK that's a failure. All join in, team up together, and get people, or try to do your best to convince people to vote for the Reform Party. I've done a fair amount of research, and right there's your answer. We luckily have a couple other stuff here, but you guys, your politics is a little different all over the place. Vote Reform and be free. And get a little taste of what it's like to have the American Constitution and free speech and not going to jail over tweets that's very tyrannical and communistic. You know, the Democrats always talk about fascism, or should I say Commie-crats talk about fascism, communism, and all that stuff, but they're perpetuating what they hate, which is funny, but they just turn it a certain way, which isn't bad for them. I swear. It's fucking goofy. I digress, though. More to touch on. Let me know what you think about that one. As I was saying to the wonderful based people of the United Kingdom, this is what happens when you don't, well, not particularly you, but your fellow country people who don't understand, doesn't pull their head out their asses and vote Labour again, because this is what happens when you vote Labour Party. Let's take a look at this clip. And unfortunately, we have to see this, so I apologize in advance if it's a little too rage baiting, or should I say not nice around the eyes in view of this, but you guys really have to lock in for this upcoming election, or however it's going to work now that he resigned, because if the next election you don't get the Reform Party or a politician that isn't freaking bribed by evil Marxist and communist, well, liberal communist and nonsense, and is pretty much a big brain damaged donut like Keir Starmer, this is what you're going to get. Let's have a quick look. Looks like a nice neighborhood, but not with all the people around there. That nice neighborhood, the values went down with all the open border there. What the hell? Why is he taking them down?
He deserves it.
No, you deserve it though.
He deserves the big time. He deserves the big time.
Are these guys even cops, or are they like security or that hired police that operates out of law that don't wear the uniforms? Look at that bullshit. That is freaking crazy.
That's it, perfect. He deserves it.
Calm down.
Don't make a scene for yourself. You make a scene for yourself.
Yeah, somebody.
No, you hold him. He just put his hand in. He's got his hand in.
The police.
I don't know, man. If that wasn't cops and they put their hands on me like that, I would have went hardcore Henry. You know, don't listen to laws from people that aren't wearing the true uniforms of police officers, and do what you got to do, because at that point they're just hired freaking help. Like, you know, the whole thing behind the George Floyd thing after they defunded the police and the police was non-existent in the Maryland area when George Floyd and all that controversy and bullshit happened, which I hope those Trump is able to pardon the cops that were in that situation, and then it's going to jail for some bullshit. Like, ugh. Good thing Trump is in, or more cops have to go to jail for doing their freaking job. I digress, but if you don't get good leadership, you got your own police countrymen turning against its own citizens when they got attacked first by outsider immigrants that weren't born and raised there and just attack them out of nowhere. And these guys aren't even official cops, it looks like. They ain't wearing badges or nothing. They're like that weird hired security because there's not much of a police force in London to begin with, so they hire like an outside, what is it, kind of like how the Pinkertons were, if I was to assume. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know quite much about these guys, but they're pretty much like the Pinkertons, not official cops. It's like a merc / bounty hunter thing, except they're attacking the wrong guy right there. If that was me, I don't know, man. If that was me, this is why you take up martial arts training and how to get out of those situations, so you're able to get out of that situation, come back strong, and just like the criminals, maybe if they got bullshit laws, maybe do with that what you will, as I will say, but you shouldn't listen to communist rules like when they talk about anti-gun and anti-weapon ban and all this shit, because all the other people and the criminals are going to carry them and use them, and they're not going to get charged with it. So, hey, like they say, if you can't beat them the legal way, you got to do what you got to do to survive. If this happens to you, illegal immigrants beating up on you, and you can't defend yourself properly unless you got to be considered a criminal for defending yourself, and you got 3 people that are your fellow countrymen holding you down on the ground like a freaking bully. They're like bullies right here. And you know what you do against bullies? You defend yourself so they can't bully you again. They didn't even point a taser at him and tell him to calm down or you're going to get tased. Or whatever. It's awful, man. These guys are freaking bullies right here. I'm going to finish playing through this video. I just wanted to vent.
How about people phone out recording you lot of companies? Really, you got nothing better to do? You're not going to go nowhere.
Police are on the way, Danny.
You're not going to go nowhere.
I'm not doing nothing wrong. Here you are.
That's just aggravating it. Wow, look at this stupid hyena. Probably isn't even from there. He just got there on the banana boat. Shake my head. UK? Remember, vote reform or you're going to get a lot of this and you're going to go to jail defending yourself in a life or death situation when one of them pull a ceremonial blade on you and attack you just for being white or whatever the problem is, or maybe he's got mental issues and whatnot. I would hope no violence come across, but unfortunately, violence is with the immigrants attacking the people that were citizens born and raised there. It's awful. Just awful.